In today's video, I will be explaining what are present simple tense and what are present continuous or present progressive tense. I will also pinpoint their differences and tell how and when to use them correctly. I will conclude the video with a quiz to test your understanding on the topic. Welcome, I'm Seema from Edufinite. If you have any queries, you can ask me in the comments section. Without much ado, let's delve into the topic. Okay, what are verb tenses? A verb in a sentence expresses a state of being or a physical action undertaken by the subject of a sentence. That means the subject of the sentence does some work or expresses some state of being, and the word that does that is a verb. Okay, next we'll come to the tenses. Now, verb tenses helps us to understand how an action relates to the flow of time. That means, what is the work of the tenses? Verb tells us about the action, and verb tenses, that means the tense of the verb, tells us when that action took place, whether it has taken place in the past or it's taking place now, or will it take place in the future. So the verb tense tells us about the time of the action when it has taken place. For example, my brother plays violin. So here it says that he plays. That means we are focusing on the word play. That means the verb play. We are not concerned about the time exactly over here. We are more concerned that he is a regular player of the violin. So my brother plays violin. Let's look into the next sentence. My brother is playing violin. Now, as soon as we change it to is playing, what happens? The time flow of the verb changes. And what does it say? That right at this moment, he is playing the violin. Okay, now these two, the first one is present simple tense and the second one is present continuous tense or present progressive tense. So first, we'll try to know what these two tenses are all about, and then we'll go into a comparison of the both. Okay, now first, what is present simple tense? A present simple tense in a sentence is used to state general or permanent facts. As I told you, my brother plays violin. That's a general fact because he is always, he is into playing violin. So that's a general fact. Repeated actions, when we repeat some actions, when they are constantly repeated, then we use this tense, this present simple tense, to express that fact. Present habits and interests, schedule events in future. Now we'll look into sentences to understand them better. First, we're just going to know what present simple tense is all about. So this is what present simple tense is all about. It will tell us about what? It will tell us about the general and the permanent facts. It will tell us about repeated events or repeated actions. It will tell us about the present habits or interests of a person. Again, some scheduled events for future, whatever will happen in future, some scheduled events, it will tell us also about that. Next, the form. What is the form that we follow while writing such sentences? So it's first the subject, then it's the regular verb or the irregular verb. Regular verb, those verbs which in their past tense take an ed at the end, and irregular verbs are those verbs which do not take ed at the end, their form changes. So those are irregular verbs. But here, present simple tense, we are just concerned about the base form of the verb, that is the V1 form of the verb. So none of that is going to come to any use over here. It's just the base form of the verb. So it's the subject and the regular verb or an irregular verb as we choose to express our idea or whatever we are trying to say. That's how the structure of the sentence of a present simple tense will be. Okay, now the basic structure is she works. That means she is always working. So that's something, a permanent fact. That means it's a general or a permanent fact. So we say she works. We can say she works in an office or whatever. We can elongate it. But that's the basic structure of present simple tense. She works. Because this is third person. In third person, what do? We add an S to that particular base verb. Third person singular number, he, she, it. These three pronouns, when they are used in the present simple tense, the verb that will follow them will have an S at its end. So she works. I run. So rest of them, I, we, you, they, will not take any S. So it's I run, she works. Next, what time phrases do we use with the present simple tense? So the time phrases we sometimes associate, some of the time phrases, I'm just giving you an idea what type of time phrases do we use with them. It's like always, generally, never, often, rarely, then every day, twice a week, 3 times a month. So it can be once a week, twice a week, or 3 times a week, or 3 times a month, or 3 times a year, anything. In the afternoon or in the morning or at night, on Wednesday or on any other day. So these are some of the time phrases that we associate with present simple tense. Okay, now we'll move on to present continuous tense or present progressive tense. Now, a present continuous tense in a sentence is used to talk about actions happening now, temporary situations, future plans, and annoying habits. Well, when we refer to annoying habits, we have to have an additional always added to it. So that's, how we convey the annoying habits, because habits that are annoying, you usually repeat, and whoever gets annoyed gets very annoyed. So now let's look into the structure or the form of the sentence. So it will be subject plus it will be either am for I, is for singular, and are for the plural form of the nouns or the pronoun, whatever you use as the subject. And then you will have the verb plus ing form of the verb, which is the present participle. Okay, now let's look into the sentences or examples. She is working. So this is the basics. She being the singular, she is working. If it would have been plural, they, then they are working. And it's I am running. So it's I plus am, which is the auxiliary verb. So am is are the auxiliary verbs, and running. And of course, if it's negative, then you have to use not. I am not running, or she is not working, anything of that sort. So I'm not going into all that details. I'll just focus into what is present continuous tense and what is present tense and their differences, like how do we use them in their respective categories, how do we use them. So that will be the focus of our today's video. Okay, now the time phrases that we usually attach to present continuous tenses are like now, right now, still, for, at the moment, at present, just now, today, this year, etc. So anything, trying to tell us something that's happening right now. So those words are used with present continuous tense, because as we know, present continuous tense usually focuses on the time. That means something that's happening right now, or it's continuing. It might not have stopped, but it's just continuing on. So in those situations, we use continuous tense, present continuous tense. That is, as I told you, actions happening now. Of course, we'll use now with that. It's raining now. So that's how. Again, temporary situations, future plans, annoying habits, etc. Now, with the help of examples, we'll understand each and every one of them and make a comparison between the present simple tense and the present continuous tense or the present progressive tense. Now, when do we use them? Present simple tense is used to refer to facts or things that are always or generally true. So anything, any fact or anything that is generally or, always true, we use this tense to express our thoughts about it or ideas about it. So let's look into the sentences to understand it a little better. Okay. So water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. So what is this? This is a fact. This is true. Every time, whenever you see water freezing, it will be 0 degrees Celsius. If it's less than 0 degrees Celsius, fine. But at 0 degrees Celsius, water will start freezing. But if it's above 0 degrees Celsius, it will not freeze. Again, we'll know water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. That's also a true fact. So any facts that are true, we use this present simple tense to express, just as I have said, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, now before continuing on, let me just tell you, for present simple tense, I've used the blue color for the verbs, and for present continuous or present progressive tense, I've used red color for the verbs. So it will be easier for you to understand. Okay, now the next sentence. I work for an IT firm. Now what is this? This is true because I work in an IT firm. So for that reason, we use present simple tense. So now you've understood, whenever we have to say any, general facts which are true, so we use present simple tense. Again, when we tell something that is a true fact, so that also we use present simple tense. Next, we come to present continuous tense or present progressive tense. Now, present continuous tense is used to refer to temporary situations. So what temporary situations? I'm working on a new project this month. I'm working on a new project. That means only for this month. So this is a temporary situation. Like from next month, maybe I'll shift over to my old project. For this particular month, I'm working on a new project. So for such temporary situations where the thing is not permanent, like over here, I work for an IT firm. That's permanent. I go to an IT firm. I work there. So that's the general truth. That's permanent. So for that reason, I did not say I'm working for an IT firm. If I say I'm working on an IT firm, that means that's temporary. Maybe I've just joined and I'll be leaving in near future. But when I say I work for an IT firm, that means that's where I permanently work. But when I say, I'm working on a new project for this month, that means this is a temporary situation. This, what am I going to do? I'm going to work only for this month. Maybe from next month, I won't be in this project, in this new project. Maybe I'll shift back to my old project or whatever. I'll do something different. So this is a temporary situation. Okay, now let's look where we use these two tenses. Present simple tense, it's also used to express regular habits or repeated actions. Now, anything that you do regularly or any action that is repeated constantly, we use present simple tense to express it. For example, Mona brushes her teeth twice a day. So this is a daily routine. She every day without fail will brush her teeth. Once she wakes up in the early morning, she'll brush her teeth. And then again before going to bed, she'll again brush her teeth. So twice a day, that's the daily habit of her. So we use the sentence, Mona brushes her teeth twice a day. So we use this sentence. Okay, now the next one. I read storybooks every weekend. So this is what a repeated action. Every weekend, that's set into my routine. I repeat this every weekend. I read storybooks. So here, we don't use present continuous tense. We don't say I'm reading storybooks every weekend. No. So when we express regular habits or repeated actions, which tense do we use? We use the present simple tense. Okay. Now let's look, where else do we use present continuous tense? Okay. Present continuous tense is also used to express annoying habits or repeated actions. Okay. Some actions that are, sometimes annoying when they are repeated, or some habits that are annoying, that are repeated, we express it with the help of present continuous tense. Okay. You are always forgetting to have your medicines. Now I get fed up and I tell someone, maybe my mother, every time I have to go and remind her, she won't take her medicine, she'll just forget it. I know people, when they become old, they tend to forget. I shouldn't get annoyed, but at times it happens. Okay, so what do I tell her then? You are always forgetting to have your medicine. So see, we use that word always. Always has to be added in between. Are forgetting, that's present continuous tense, because are, as I told you, am, is, are, these three auxiliary verbs we use according to the subject, and then we have the verb plus ing. So here it is are forgetting, but we have to insert that always to express the annoying habit. Okay, the next one. They are always playing cricket. Well, it sometimes gets annoying because they repeat this action. They always play cricket. They don't have any other game. Why don't they take interest in all other games? Maybe it's their favorite sport, but sometimes they can play something else too. So they are always playing cricket. So now let's move on to the next set. Present simple tense is also used to express timetable events. So something that's set in the timetable, that means it's again a repeated action. So it's there in the timetable. It will be done every day at that particular time. So then also we use the present simple tense. Okay. The plane to Singapore takes off at 10 p.m. So every day without fail, that's the timetable that a Singapore flight from my city takes off at 10 p.m. That means 10 o'clock at night. So since that's the timetable event taking place regularly, so we don't say planes to Singapore is taking off at 10 p.m. That's wrong. What do we say? The plane to Singapore takes off at 10 p.m. Next, their school starts at 8 a.m. So again, this is a routine work, timetable maintained work, routine work, So again, we don't say their school is starting at 8 a.m. No, that's wrong. We say their school starts at 8 a.m. Now we move on to present continuous tense. Now, present continuous tense is used to express future arrangements. Okay? Now, future arrangements means something that's going to happen in the future. For example, Rohan is leaving for USA on 20th November. So that's something planned for future, but it's a fixed date. On 20th November, what is Rohan going to do? He's leaving for the US. Here, we don't say Rohan leaves for USA on the 20th of November. That will be wrong again. So, see the difference? When it's a timetable event, when we mention the time, then what do? We use the present simple tense. But when we are talking about something that's going to happen in the future, but it's fixed, then we use the present continuous tense. Let's look into another sentence. They are getting married on 16th December this year. So, they are getting married. So, again, we use the present continuous tense. Are is the auxiliary. Get plus ing, getting. So, that's the verb form. Married on the 16th December this year. So, this is again a future arrangement which we have used present continuous tense to express. Okay. Now, the next one. Simple present tense is also used to describe physical characteristics or traits, even likes and dislikes. So, a physical characteristics or some trait of a person, or physical characteristic of something, or maybe the like or dislike of a person, we use present simple tense to express it. Let's look into it. She likes to play tennis. So this is what she likes, or she dislikes to play tennis. Then we have, they are very jovial. Here, are is used as the main verb. So they are, because it's a trait of a person. What type of a person? They are. So we use over here are as the main verb. So they are very jovial. So see, while describing or telling about a physical trait or personality, or likes or dislikes of a person, we use present simple tense. Okay, now present continuous tense is used to talk about current trends or changes. So something that's currently trending or some change is occurring, we use this tense to describe it. So let's look into the sentences. I am reading an interesting novel. So what does this mean? That means it doesn't mean that I'm reading right now. Yes, I'm reading. I'm at the moment, like I've started reading it, and maybe I'll read it again. Like, I haven't finished it yet. That's what it means. I'm reading an interesting novel. Your English is getting better. So this is what? An improvement, a change. Your English is getting better. Yes. So these are the things when we talk about. So what? Some current trend or some changes that's happening, we use present continuous tense or present progressive tense. Okay, next we use present simple tense to refer to goals, wishes and ambitions. So whenever we have to express our goals, or maybe we wish for something, or maybe what's our ambition, when we have to express these type of things, we use present simple tense. So the sentences are, I want to work for the needy. What do I want to do? I want to help the needy, so I want to work for them, for their upliftment. So we use the present simple tense. Okay, next. Molly wishes to be a doctor. Here, again, wishes, that's the present simple tense. Molly being singular, we have added es to it. So Molly wishes to be a doctor. So that's her ambition, or that's a wish, to be a doctor. Okay, next we move on to present continuous tense. Now it is used to talk about ongoing action, something that's, still prevalent, that's going on. So let's look into the sentences. The children are playing in the park. So right at the moment I can see the children, I can see the park and they are playing over there. So the children are playing in the park. So that's the ongoing action that's taking place. So while describing that, I'm using the present continuous tense. Okay. Next, why are you staring at me? So someone, maybe my friend or my mother, or maybe she got annoyed with me and she's staring at me, and then I ask her, why are you staring at me? So that is how we use the present continuous tense. Okay. Next, we move on to, we have to note one thing. While using present continuous tense, we don't tend to use it with stative verbs. So present continuous tense are avoided with stative verbs. Now, what are stative verbs? Well, stative verbs is used primarily to describe a state or condition rather than an action. So verbs are of two types, as I told you. They express either a state of being or an action. So state of being, when it's being described, we usually avoid associating present continuous tense with it. Now let's look into some examples to understand it. For example, I believe she is innocent. See here, the blue ones are of course present simple tense and the red ones are present continuous tense. Those are the verbs. So here, I believe she is innocent is the right way to say it. We never say I am believing she is innocent. So believe is a stative verb. Okay, believe is a stative verb, and we never convert it into continuous tense, that is present continuous tense, by adding ing to it, and we don't have an auxiliary before it and say I am believing she is innocent. That's very wrong way of saying it. We cannot use present continuous tense with stative verbs, as I told you. Let's look into the next sentence. I like your dress. Like is also a stative verb. So I am liking your dress is absolutely wrong. You have to say I like your dress. Okay, the next one. Can you see the grasshopper? When we question someone, can you see the grasshopper? You can't say, are you seeing the grasshopper? That's wrong again. So, see is again the stative verb. How much does it cost? This is how we say. We don't say, how much does it costing? We don't say that. How much does it cost? That's how we say it. So, this is how you have to see that stative verbs are usually used with present simple tense, and we tend not to use with present continuous tense because that way it's not the correct form. Now, what I'll do is I'll just give you a glimpse of what common stative verbs are. I won't give you the whole list. It's not possible. Just, so that you have an idea. So, common stative verbs are in the category of emotions or desires. These are the verbs. Next, we have mental states. These are the verbs. Next, we have measurements, under which cost, contain, measure and weigh, These are the verbs. Next we have possessions. Then we have senses. Hear, see, smell, taste. So these are the common stative verbs which we have to avoid using with the present continuous tense or present progressive tense. Okay, now it's time to test the understanding. Okay, let's look into the first sentence. Oh God, it rains. What do you think? Is it right or is it wrong? It rains. No, that's wrong. Why? Because we are telling something about the present moment. And when we talk about something that's happening now, we cannot use present simple tense. What do we have to use? We have to use, oh God, it's raining. Maybe I've planned an outing and I was just about to go out and it started raining, and I have to wait till the rain stops. Now, let's move on to the next sentence. The teacher teaches now. So, what do you think? Is it right or is it wrong? Well, what have we said? Now. So, the time phrase is now. Now means right at the moment. So, simple present tense will not work with it. So, that's wrong. So, how do we correct it? Yes, the teacher is teaching now. Since it's talking about right at the moment, so it's in the present continuous tense or present progressive tense. Next, are you liking chocolate? Just now I told you what? We cannot use present continuous or present progressive tense with stative verbs. So here like is a stative verb. So this is wrong. Yes. So what's the correct form? Do you like chocolate? Okay, the next one. The children are always going to school at 8 a.m. Now what is this? This is routine, timetable verb. When things are happening according to a timetable, what tense do we use? We use present simple tense. So this is absolutely wrong, and the correct form is the children always go to school at 8 a.m. Okay, the next one. She visits the head office this month. So this is what? Is it right? So this is what? Is it right? What do you think? Or is it wrong? Yes, this is not right. Why? Because this is going to tell us something about the future, and when we talk something about the future that's going to happen in the future, but we know it's going to happen. So what tense do we use? So this is wrong. How do we write it? We write she is visiting the head office this month. Okay, the next one. Inflation goes up this year. Again, this is future prediction. Future prediction, wrong form. We cannot use present simple tense to make future predictions. We use present continuous or present progressive tense. So inflation is going up this year. Okay, the next one. She is living in the USA. Okay, now what is this? This is something, a general true fact. So when we talk about something that's true, then what do? We don't use present continuous tense. Of course, this is wrong. And the correct form is she lives in USA. Okay. The next one is I'm having dinner at the moment. So what do you think? If it's right or is it wrong? And by the way, having means eating. So we either say I'm eating dinner at the moment, or we can also say I'm having dinner at the moment. So at the moment means right now. So yes, right now means present continuous tense, and this of course is right. Okay, that's all for today. Hope the lesson was helpful. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section. I'll be back with a new video very soon. Till then, take care, stay safe, and be happy.